Hello out there, this is Wakeangel2K1, and I received a package the other day from a future commissioner named Paulie. He's had stuff done for me before, and he wanted me to use this figure to make a custom for him later on. It's going to be a while before we actually get to the custom, but it's the Batman the Animated Series Creeper figure, although I guess it is the new Batman Adventures because it's from a later season. The Creeper was a pretty cool character. He only had one episode in the series, and I think he had a crowd shot cameo in the Justice League cartoon. But basically, the Creeper is the original vision for what Bruce Timm thought Freakazoid would be like. Yeah, like this character is kind of like what Freakazoid would have been if Bruce Timm actually did Freakazoid, because as some of you may know, especially if you watched the Nostalgia Critic's recent review on it, Freakazoid was a TV series that was originally pitched to Bruce Timm, but he wasn't used to making comedies, he was used to action, so he didn't think he could do it, so he did character designs for it, but other people ended up doing the lion's share of the work for that show. And Bruce Timm has said that Creeper is what Freakazoid would have been like had he been the one to make the show. So there you go. So Creeper is basically a pilot pitch for Freakazoid. And as you can see, there's really nothing on the packaging. It's all just this stuff. It's not even all that collector friendly. You can open a seam on this side, but the rest of it's hard glued down, so it's very difficult to get it out of the blister without messing the blister up. Oh well. But Paulie sent me two of these things, so for now, this guy can stay in his box while I get the one that I took out. Alright, the first thing that impresses me about this figure is that he can stand. Like, I thought with those little tiny feet and that big old fluffy scarf that he has on his entire back, I thought that he would be way top heavy and would not be able to stand without the thoughtfully provided figure stand, which is here in the little tray of accessories I'll show you in a minute. But yes, the Creeper is capable of standing on his own 2 feet, which is a minor miracle of itself, and it should receive praise just for that. Okay, so let's get into his detailing. He has really wide open crazy eyes and a gigantic smile. Those who did not see the episode, Creeper's origin was that he was a reporter doing a news piece on the Joker, where he was actually on location in the chemical plant where Batman dropped him into that vat of acid that bleached his skin. When the Joker showed up, hit him in the face with his Joker venom, you know, the laughing gas, and then threw him in one of the vats. He attempted to crawl out of the vats, but Joker kept on pushing him in, and eventually he got flushed down, and amazingly he managed to survive. But the Joker venom reacted with the chemicals, which deranged him in much the same way, but, you know, slightly different. And for one thing, his skin was yellow instead of white, although he did still get the green streaks in his hair, and these hair points, incredibly sharp. Like, look, they leave impressions on my skin. I don't know if that's showing up, but be careful when you're handling this, guys. You might poke yourself. And that goes for the points here. This is a very hard, not gummy at all plastic. Look, I can't bend it. So be careful with the points on this figure, because you will poke yourself. This is a collector's toy, not a kid's toy. So yeah, he's basically just the Joker, but even crazier. But he didn't turn evil. So there you go. He has all the detailing. He has that ridiculous striped Speedo that he bought from that boutique. He has the gloves and the boots with the crazy thing on the end. These aren't quite as sharp, but they are still quite pokey. And of course, that gigantic, huge, fluffy fur thing he kind of draped on himself. How does that even stay on? What even is this? Like, I don't get it. I know he ran into a woman's boutique to get where he got his funny outfit, but like, what even is that? Is that supposed to be like I I don't know what you call it. I don't know fashion. I have no idea what that is. All right, articulation. Head is on a ball joint, so he can look down pretty good. He can look left and right without looking like he's tilting his head to the side too much. Although you can't totally tilt his head to the side. This is because his posture. He has one of those forward sloped necks. But yeah, they call me Yellow-Skinned Wacky Man, but I prefer to go by the Creeper. He has universal jointed shoulders. They go in and out, they go forward. They have to go outwards a little bit when they go forward because of the sculpt of his chest. Universally jointed elbows, they go a full 90. Universally jointed wrists, they go like this and they rotate. He has a waist joint. He has universal hips. Although, like, the sculpt of his underwear gets in the way of his legs when you want to move him forward. So yeah, you're stretching plastic there. They made it out of a softer material, but I don't like how that creaks and cringes against itself. When I customize it, I might just cut the excess away so the legs can move more freely. And of course, they can go outwards, although it uses that big hinge joint that DC figures use for their hip articulation. So when you put it out, it kind of breaks the sculpt and looks really weird. He has knees that go 90 degrees, no thigh swivels, no knee swivels. I think he could have used a thigh swivel, but it looks like the way they put his leg together, it's like two pieces of plastic glued together to make that. You see the seam? So like, I don't know, that's not really a good way to do that, because then you can't put a thigh swivel in when you build the legs that way. Although he does have really good ankles. They go side to side and forward and backwards. They could stand to be a little bit tighter, but as you can see, it was the hip that was giving up on me there. But yeah, you can get him in a flat-footed stance, so you can put him in some dynamic poses. I was impressed that he was just able to stand, but the fact that he can actually be posed is even more impressive. Creeper comes with some accessories. First of all is his character display stand, which has a very nice picture of the character on it. It's that kind of stand that has this little translucent claw thing, which you clamp this around the waist of the figure to hold it up, and it's on pivots, so you can move it backwards, you can move it forwards, you can move it up and down. So yeah, it's a pretty, it's simple engineering, but it gets the job done. He comes with a pool cue from that scene where he beat the Joker up with a pool cue. I only half remember that. A rat. It's a very well made rat. Little tiny mouth, his ears are sculpted, he has little beady eyes, a little pink tail. You know, they painted the tail, so they painted such a tiny little accessory. That's something. He has the Adam West Batman mask. This made a brief appearance in the scene where he was buying his costume, and when the lady asked if he was paying with paper or plastic, he put this mask on the counter and said plastic. Now it has the eye and mouth holes, but he can't wear it. Like, yeah, I can kind of wedge it under his hair, but yeah, he can't actually wear the mask. Although if you hold it over, his eyes do come through it, but you know, it doesn't stay on. He also comes with 4 extra hands. He has 2 hands that are gesturing with his little claws, and he has 2 more hands for holding things. It's easy enough to get the pool cue into his holding thing hand, but you have to get really creative to get him to hold up the mask. And aside from just having the rat stand up there, I can't really think of anything else to do with it. But yeah, if you're creative enough, you can actually get him to use all of his accessories at the same time. Well, you know, except for the 4 extra hands, because you gotta swap them out. They are on very simple pegs, those kinds of pegs that have a couple of ridges in there so they have good friction, so they hold when you put them in without falling out, but you know, they're easy to get in and out. I had no problem getting them in and out of his forearms, and nothing felt like it was gonna break, so that's all well and good. So yeah, Creeper can use his accessories. Hooray! Ironically enough, the most difficult accessory to use is his display stand. Because of this gigantic fluffy thing on his back, it actually prevents the claw from reaching all the way to his waist where it would have the best grip. So I just kind of had to clamp it around that red thing itself and hope that it holds up. but it's not really holding him so much as it's just giving him something to lean against. So, yeah, that's kind of a funny irony. But yeah, it's there if you need it, and it does help a little bit. And so that is my review of the Creeper figure. Anyone who is if you're a completionist for Batman the Animated Series, he's a great figure to get, and he is a pretty good toy in his own right. There's nothing inherently wrong with him. It's just that he is kind of obscure, again, seeing as how he was only in a single episode of the series. But I'm pretty sure for his connection to, the fact that he's a proto-freakazoid might actually pull in just enough fans to actually make this release worthwhile. I know I'm happy I got it, and you'll find out in a few months when I actually customize him why. This is Wakeangel2K1 signing off.